It's me, Martin. Hello everybody, once again, how is it going? Yeah, as you can see, we've got rid of the scaffolding on my microphone. We have now got something that catches the rotting parts of my teeth much more efficiently. It just bounces right off. Look at that. And why am I dressed like this for such a serious video topic? Well, because I want to see how the YouTube bots work. I want to see how they recognize the bright, contrasting colors on the video and strike me down for doing something that's tricking kids into watching my content so I can collect their data and get more targeted ads towards more kids when I'm clearly not a kid-related channel. Yes, we are indeed today talking about COPPA, which can either be seen as a cockney expressing distaste towards the police, you dirty copper, or of course the thing that perverts usually do to get themselves arrested. No, this is actually much more serious than either of those things. This is the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, and not children of pissy parents. I'm sure you're sick to death at this point of seeing other people's videos about COPPA, and there's a good reason for it. I mean, you can be sick about it all you want to, but the thing is that this affects every single person. Doesn't matter how big or small you are under threat. This is a federal level legal thing going on. What this is going on, I'm going to be taking my sources from a vidIQ article right here, which I just put back on the desk and I'm picking up again. After reading the article, from what I gather, the law specifically restricts people from collecting personal information from users under the age of 13 without the express permission of their parents or guardians. But yeah, this is a law that's been in place since 1998. It's nothing new. The only reason it's come under fire is that YouTube themselves got fined a massive amount of money because the government finally caught up with their shenanigans of promoting channels that are so clearly not kid-friendly material, but are tricking kids into clicking the videos, watching them, and then having, like, subscribe notifications, comments, like notification bells, which is collecting data from kids so that they can sell them more toys, more nonsense, bug their parents for more stuff. All that kind of stuff. That's what this law is telling people that they can't do. And this is brilliant news in a lot of ways for those goddamn terrible channels which we have been saying for years and years now are the cancer of YouTube. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about Spider-Man and Elsa farting in the bathtub. I'm talking about Ryan's World. And my god, if I go into a toy store and I don't see another bloody stupid Ryan's World surprise egg that half the time doesn't even look like an egg, then that'll be worth COPPA all on its own. So yeah, it's great for getting rid of channels like that are genuinely exploitative, genuinely malicious. But for everybody else, it's kind of a big deal because we're all just doing our thing and we can't help who sees our videos. YouTube's bots have tried many a times through demonetization and restricting audiences and everything. They have tried everything in their power to restrict our audiences over the years, depending on how much we swear, how much sexual content and jokes there are, all that kind of stuff. And here we are, once again, with a system that didn't clearly work, and it screwed everyone over through the adpocalypses and the demonetization overhauls, and now we're back at square one. After YouTube got fined a good nearly $200 million for violations against this law, obviously everyone's ad revenue dropped. It was not an adpocalypse necessarily, but just the money went and the pool of cash to spread around creators has dropped. So yeah, site-wide, everyone's lost money. And basically what this law is entailing now is that the government can basically fine you up to nearly $50,000 for each individual video that they deem as tricking kids into watching and collecting their data. And this is quite a scary amount of money, especially when you've got hundreds of videos. This affects every video you've ever uploaded, not just recent videos, every single video you've ever uploaded, which means my Peppa Pig videos are at risk. But nothing's happened to them yet, luckily, but we'll see what happens. If you follow Arlo's stuff on Twitter and YouTube, or even Chadtronic, who I very recommend you follow in case you want to see a proper real-time breakdown of someone basically going through the garbage of YouTube, finding used nappies and opening up to find more and more green inside the nappies. Those are the places you want to go, because Arlo is clearly bright colours, he's a puppet, And Chadtronic has done a lot of toy reviews. He is completely above board in terms of swearing and all that kind of stuff. So obviously they probably have a relatively, compared to most of us, a relatively big young person audience. The thing is though, YouTube are fully aware how temperamental their bots are, how inaccurate they are, so they've given everybody the option to make their channels not kid-friendly or kid-friendly and label each individual video as that. The problem is though, as soon as you do that, because of this new system in place, you lose quite a lot of relevancy, a lot of revenue, because you have basically said, yeah, my video is available to everybody, which means I can't use targeted advertisements for children as young as 3 who shouldn't be watching these videos in the first place without their parents there anyway. And you can start seeing where the contradictions appear, can't you? Because then what do you do if you've got stuff that's PG-13, but you have to label it as non-kid friendly to keep advertisers in and keep the targeted ads for your audience and make sure that you still can keep the lights on when you're doing this for your job? Well, that means that you lose a lot of, again, search term relevancy. A lot of your audience will stop getting notifications because of their age and everything. So you can't really win. You either make videos for kids for nothing, or you make videos that are for adults and not get much in return because of demonetization and target. It's a mess. And this video is not me telling all of you that this isn't a big deal or anything like that, but what I am going to be saying today is I think everyone needs to calm down a little bit. Not much. I know this is still very, it's new news, and there are people like Chadtronic who are rightfully scared. I don't blame him at all, especially, but I think that as a community, as a group of YouTubers, I think we can all deal with calming down a little bit. And the reason for that is because this system is fundamentally flawed in so many ways. It's still brand new, it's still being tweaked. At the moment, it's ridiculous. You've just got a load of old people who don't know how the internet works, saying this is that is looking at it black and white, as you know, usually how these things happen when it comes to internet politics, I suppose. But yeah, it's such a broken, backwards, fundamentally flawed system, and YouTube have already lost a lot of money because of this flawed system. So I don't think that YouTube themselves can afford to lose the revenue from their biggest creators that aren't necessarily kid friendly, like PewDiePie. I mean, he's the most subscribed channel on this website. I don't think that they would ever risk losing the amount of money brought in by all the biggest channels that, again, are PG-13, not necessarily kid-friendly, and I don't think they're going to want to pay another near $200 million fine over their lack of policing on their own website. So what I think is going to happen is someone at some point, I'm not sure who, I'm not sure when, will get struck down by this new COPPA system. They might get fined for multiple videos. Who knows? I can't tell the future. I'm not psychic, but I think that's something that's going to happen. And this case will get traction, it will get attention, it will get news from everybody. I can't imagine a story like that not breaking to everybody, because if it happens to someone with barely any subscribers or someone with the most subscribers on the website, it's going to be a big deal, because nobody can rightfully afford on channels with thousands of videos. How on earth do they expect a single individual or a small team of people making videos for YouTube? How are they going to expect them to pay a fine like that for something that makes no goddamn sense? I personally think that a case like this will open and it will set a precedent. I think everybody will come together. I will do all in my power to make sure that whoever this happens to will get the support, finances, whatever. I will chip in what I can. And I'm sure loads of other people will do it too, because as soon as it happens to one person, it happens to everybody. This has happened so many times before on YouTube, and people that are freaking out and saying oh, well, we got to find new jobs and everything. Why can't YouTube do this? Why can't YouTube do that? You need to expect by this point, guys, that YouTube is unstable. It just is. And if you can't handle the instability, don't make videos on YouTube. I don't know what else to say to you. We've had multiple adpocalypses. We've had the advertiser friendly debacle. We've had demonetization. We've had all of this stuff. YouTube have always used bots, used viewing figures. They've always favored corporations over the little people. It's always going to be like that. At the end of the day, they are a corporation, their business, the bottom line is their dollar. They don't care about the individual, but if we all come together, if someone is, I would say, unlawfully claimed over this COPPA nonsense, someone like Chadtronic, in my opinion, then, like, I'm sure everybody would band together and take them down. And then that case will forever set like how fair use law was sorted out. It took a few case studies, as it were, for people to understand the idea of what fair use could what the meaning could expand to, what it could entail, and now here we are with decent fair use laws. Yeah, it doesn't stop companies from claiming, but they've got less of a ground to stand on than they did 10 years ago. Just to give you an idea of how flawed this system is, YouTube as a website can scan automatically a video that's an animation of something, and because it uses bright contrasting colors and 2D animation and everything, and it can detect that, it will then say, hey, this is an animation, this is inherently kid-friendly, but then the system will look at the video, look at the swears, look at the content within the animation, and then go, hang on a second, you are tricking kids into clicking on your videos, and then that means you are targeting advertisements towards them, which is bullshit. I mean, good God, you'd think after Family Guy, South Park, American, all that stuff, you'd think that we'd get by this point that animation is not inherently kid-friendly. Nothing is inherently kid-friendly. My Peppa Pig videos, they're not inherently kid-friendly, but I'm talking about a kid's topic, which is, again, like what channels like Arlo Stuff and Chadtronic do. The situation is too nuanced and too specific, too intricate for a bot to sort it all out. And again, like I've said, is that I think there's going to be a case study where the system completely shits itself, and then everyone's going to band together and go, hang on a second, this is too far, and then everything will be sorted. The case will set a precedent, and then we'll have a new set of rules, and hopefully everything should balance itself out. All of those awful, exploitative, terrible, actually bad channels that trick kids into clicking on their videos, generates billions in revenue, all of that stuff will eventually die out. The money will stop going to them, and then the pool will increase for other content creators. Like, it will average out for everyone else better instead of favoring one channel over the rest. Like, as soon as you get rid of millions in advertising revenue to one channel that is genuinely being dickish, then you can spread that out more against the other creators, even if it's just a little bit extra more. And once again, I love how we're stuck in this situation where it's all about the children. Think about the children. The children... Do you remember being a kid, guys? Do you remember when parents would make things taboo? Do you remember when parents told you could or couldn't do something, and you'd ask why, and they'd say, oh, because I'm your parent and you should listen to me, I know more than you? Didn't that make you want to search things more? Didn't that make you want to seek things out? That's how black markets work. It's basic human psychology. You make something taboo and don't explain why it's taboo, then you're gonna make it more enticing. It's the Streisand effect. That's how our brains work. If you try so hard to hide something, it just makes it more enticing, more like some rare treasure, more like... It's basic human psychology, and that's not what a bot can detect, or old people, as it appears. As far as I'm concerned, if you're a parent and you give a tablet, you provide YouTube from your tablet, your television, your laptop, your phone, if you then hand that over to a kid, you have effectively used your permission for the kid to do that. So whatever they run into on the internet completely unsupervised, that's your problem. That's not the internet's problem. The internet is a giant, stupidly massive place. If you open the front door and let your kid wander outside and get surprised it gets hit by a car, you wouldn't be saying the same thing, would you? All of this basically boils down to parents complaining at the end of the day. Parents complaining about their precious little babies being exposed to things that they shouldn't be because they let them run free on a thing that was never meant for them in the first place. And if there was a case that ever went to a court of law over this COPPA nonsense on YouTube, it will be like examples like that. It will be, oh, well, the parent has already given consent by physically handing over the device or letting the kid run free on something that they should be policing. It's stuff like that, and stuff like, well, how about kids that deliberately trick YouTube into telling them that they're 18 when they're actually 12 or 10 because they want to see more things that their parents won't let them? It's arguments like that, human behavior that we can't control, and that is not on us. We just make videos. How they get distributed is not our goddamn problem. Who watches them and enjoys them and can understand them at a mature level where they don't then copy exactly what we do and go around hurting their brothers and sisters and strangling their fathers. That's not on us. That's on the parents. If you think your kid can't handle this stuff, then you should be more policing, more responsible with your own kid and what they do. If your kid's got an eating problem, you wouldn't let the fucker go into a fridge on his own. You wouldn't, would you? If you're in a library with a kid and you want to buy a book and you're in the adult erotica section, you wouldn't let your kid rummage around that section and just opening up every single goddamn page in the world. And if you're a lonely dad, you wouldn't let him do the same thing with naughty magazines in a shop, would you? You'd tell him to go look at the sweets or something. I don't know why I'm saying him a lot. I just assume that a lot of these kids watching these videos are little boys that are shitty and disgusting. I don't know, but all I'm saying is that as a community, we have been through so much garbage fire trash. We have been through a lot, guys. YouTube has been over about 5 times now. It's not going to be over now. There's too much money at stake. There's too many investors, too many advertising possibilities. It's still growing, guys. And I think that as serious as this is, we all need to chill out a little bit. And if you can't handle stuff like this happening every year or so, then find another job, because that's what you sign up for with YouTube. You sign up for the insecurity. That's just how it is. It has many perks. It has many benefits. It's amazing to entertain people. It's amazing to get an audience of people to enjoy what you're doing. Conventions, meeting and greeting people and all that stuff. That stuff's brilliant, but it's also incredibly volatile. And whenever someone asks me from now on, what's your, what advice do you have for starting a channel? I'm just going to say, you need to be ready for every 6 months your job to be on the line every single time. But I think it always works itself out, because YouTube is too big, it's too valuable, and people will sue companies for whatever they can get, and this is no different. I think that they've got the slap on the wrist with their giant, stupid millions of dollar fine, and now they're gonna work it out and not have to give millions of dollars back. Someone has found a legal loophole from a law that existed since 1998. And they're now using it to get more money out of a massive, massive corporation. No different from every other time. It's going to keep on happening. But it's too big and too valuable to just completely atom bomb destroy itself. So everybody take this calmly. We'll get through this. Trust me.